Hello, my name is Gabriel, and today we will go ahead and run a Ansible container in Windows 10. Some of the reasons we might go ahead and do this is if you're a developer with a Windows machine instead of something like a Linux laptop or a Mac OS X, a MacBook, and we have local resources here. Some reasons we will not use something like the Window Subsystem for Linux. It's kind of clunky right now. It's not great support to do stuff like this. So we'll just go ahead and get that going. So anyways, a couple things, some prerequisites before you go any further is you need to make sure you have Git for Windows and Docker Desktop. And if you haven't already gotten that, quick Google search, feel free to stop the video and go get that. But I'll just show you, just so you know what's the actual stuff you need to get. So Git for Windows. Let's do a quick Google for that. Go ahead and install that. Get the appropriate, appropriate binary you need, and also Docker Desktop for Windows. And we'll be working with the Community Edition. So, Docker CE Desktop stands for Community Edition. So anyways, once you've went ahead and downloaded those binaries and installed them, we'll make sure they're up and running. So we'll open a command prompt. To get that, you go to the Start menu and just type in CMD, and there it is. You'll see that you get that up and running. Now that you have that open, I want to do a quick pause. If you're one of those folks who like to use PowerShell is not supported for running things on Docker Desktop, at least PowerShell ISE. So that's why I'm just going to do everything in command prompt. And just a quick note, I'm going to stumble over some of my commands because I'm usually work with Mac OS, Mac keyboard and Mac shortcuts instead of Windows. So please bear with me as I transfer some of the commands over into Windows. Anyways, let's get started. So now that you have both installed and to check, just type in git -- version. And as you can see, I can have my git version, and then I'll also type in docker space -- version and hit enter. And there it is. I have my Docker version. Now, I want to go ahead and download an Ansible container. Now, I could go ahead and build this, but someone has already done that. So Jeff Gerling, he's a pretty prominent open source developer, especially within the Ansible community. He's got a few books out there. Highly recommend checking him out. But anyways, he's got this Docker containers. In fact, he's already got the code that he used to make the Docker file, the Docker container here. So if you ever want to do this himself, you can go ahead and run that. We're going to skip this part. We don't need to build the Docker container, because what this Docker file does is it builds a container, builds an image, and then we can run it. Now, that's already been done. But if you ever wanted to do it yourself, or you want to do, add some additional packages, feel free to download this Docker file and you can go ahead and do that. But anyways, we'll move on and we'll just go straight to where he officially keeps it. Now, highly recommend getting the latest image, but specifically making sure that we're using Python 3.6. For example, Python, any version, version 2 is going to be deprecated. It's, and just now and especially in the near future. So just to make things easier and to avoid some warnings, use the Python 3 image. Now that we also make sure that we have Docker running, I did one thing to do check is we actually, once you install it, make sure you do get it launched. And it does take a few minutes. So I already know mine's running. I can see it in my task tray. So that's cool. And I'm going to go ahead and just click on this blue thing right here. And that's going to actually copy and paste this into my buffer. And then I can just right click and paste that there into my command prompt window. So that's going to go ahead and do a Docker pull. So as you can see, we got some bits that are coming across from the internet down to my local laptop. It shouldn't take too long. It's all going to be dependent on your connection speed. So feel free to fast forward through this video to get there, but again, it's not too long. So if you don't feel like waiting to see a progress bar, feel free to skip it. Now, just so you know, I highly recommend working with the CentOS version. Ansible is officially maintained and supported with Red Hat. Not that you couldn't use Ubuntu or you can use any other distro. It's just it has the tightest integration, and it's officially and natively supported on the Red Hat binary. So CentOS is binary compatible with Red Hat distribution. So it's kind of one of the reasons why I like to run it off CentOS. But again, if you want to run Ansible on Ubuntu, power to you. Go for it. So almost done with the extraction. There it is. Now, to check you have the actual Docker image and the right Docker image, just go ahead and type exactly that. Docker image, not Docker images. And you can see my repository, or at least where that's coming from, and the specific tag that we want, that specific version is on Python 3. And you can see that this was created 2 months ago. So that's kind of how recent this image was created. And it's a good 501 megabytes. So if you're looking at space and how much space you need for your disk size, you're going to need about half a gig for that. Well, now that's great, but now we actually need to get this up and running. So the nice part is back to the GitHub page is here in the documentation, right in the README. This README files we're going through and all the main page. It tells you how to build it, which we're going to skip because we don't need to build it because we've already downloaded the image, and we're just going to go straight to how to use. So as you can see, it says install Docker, and then we already pull the image, which we did. He recommended the latest, but again, I recommended Python 3. And then we're going to run a container from the image. So this is where we're going to actually craft this long string. So let's go to the parts that we do not need to modify. So I'm going to copy that first. So I copied, okay, and right click and paste into my buffer. And then we're going to do, it's based on source and target. So the source where we're going to mount it from. Actually, I should step back. We should go ahead and create a directory where we want to run our playbooks from. So I'm just going to I'm going to change directories into my documents. Cool. And then I'm going to make directory, and I'm just going to call this playbooks. You can call it whatever you want, but I already have one there. I should just check to see if it's there. Sure do. I do have a playbooks directory. Awesome. Looks like I got stuff in there. So what I'm going to do is make a new directory instead, and I'll just call it Scratch. Cool. As you can see, I'm trying to show my directories with ls instead of their command. So now I'll change directory into Scratch, check that it's empty, and sure enough it is. Cool. So now that we have a directory and we can see it, the directory path into our thing, we're going to go ahead again, right click and copy, and I said copy, right click and paste, and then we're going to change the volume of C:, and this, you're going to put your specific path, whatever you decided to do it. If you want to do Scratch or whatever, just change it appropriately for you. So for me, it's going to be Shinny documents, my Scratch directory. Cool. And remember to follow the Windows proper slash conventions. They are going to change because the / is going to change to the slash is from a backslash to a / because it's CentOS in specific Unix-based and Linux-based systems do / versus Windows do /. So just kind of important to do that. Now we're going to separate, and we're going to go into this part right here, sys fs cs group, sys fs cs group, and that's basically, this is important. I would not recommended mounting to a different location, mounting a volume, is because in the Docker file specified by Jeff Garland, he's already kind of outlined this out of, hey, I need to have this there. So if you do somewhere else different, like var, or opt or user bin, this is not going to load properly. So just to keep keep that in place. Make sure you mount this directory. It is going to be needed. So anyways, so we're going to go ahead and do that. So we've already set the directory. And we should be ready to run it. What did I do wrong? I missed an argument. So docker run detach privilege dash volume. Specify source, specify the target. Of course, and I need to specify the actual container we need to run. So this is going to be caroling guy / docker dash CentOS 7.077 Ansible. Instead of latest, I'm going to put Python 3 because that's the one we got. And now it should run. Failed to run. I probably mounted or something wrong. So we'll see what the error was. Using the up arrow, I just bring it back to command. So this is right. And this is going to sys fs C group, not CS. So, yep. Finally, we got that up and running. Now we can go ahead and check it, see if it's running. So I'll do docker ps tac a. And you can see that it's up and running. And to make sure we got Ansible running, go ahead and type docker exec tac or dash, however you want to call it, IT. Stands for interactive terminal. You're going to highlight this. Make sure you got a space here. Oh, didn't put that correctly in my buffer. Let's try that again. Click over, then right click outside of it, paste it. I got the container ID. And then I'm going to type in bash to get into the shell. Then I'll go ahead and type in Ansible -- version. And there we can see that Ansible, we're running Ansible 2.9 inside this container. So fantastic, great. That's how you get Ansible installed. Now, one more thing to note, and make sure you, I did exit the container, but I did not actually shut down the container. So you can always check if it's running by doing another docker ps tac a. You can see that it's created. Don't worry about this other one because this is the one I did earlier and it borked and definitely didn't work. So I can even remove that one. I can do a docker stop just to make sure it's going, not working. Remove that old one. Yep. And then I always like to be a little bit clean about it, so do a docker system prune. Yep. Do another docker ps tac a, and there's a single container that we have up running with Ansible. So when you're starting to run your first playbooks, run it from this directory. We did already go ahead and mount this to a local directory, so anything that you save to here is going to be made available inside the container. So that's something to note. There's other ways to go ahead and do that. You can also see how to get there as well using this alternative way to do the check. But anyways, that gets you there. So we do want to see a container get going. And I'll probably do that for a next video.